idea since we are recording and just now getting live on YouTube.
Awesome. Thanks, John Paul. So just for anybody that I don't know on the call, I'm Lisa Sumption. I am one of the co-conveners of the Salmonberry Trail Interagency, and I am also the director of the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department. So John Paul, why don't you go ahead and go next, just because I see you right next to me.
Sounds good. I am John Paul Bowles with the Salmonberry Trail Foundation.
Nice. Giles.
Yeah, good morning. Giles Rickett with the Salmonberry Trail Foundation Board President.
Nice. Thank you. Jim.
Jim Rapp. This is Jim Rapp, Parametrics. I've been the consulting project manager, and we have 3 other people from our team on who've been working on it, most of them for the last 5 years. So
Nice. Dennis.
Hi, I'm Dennis Wiley. I've been the project manager for STIA and OPRD on the trail.
Thank you. Mike.
Good morning, Mike Cafferetta, Forest Grove District Forester with the Oregon Department of Forestry.
Thank you. Jerry.
Sorry, I wasn't ready. Jerry Willie, Washington County Commissioner District 4, which my district is the western side of Washington County, and of course includes the eastern side of the Salmonberry Trail. And I'd like to note that Dennis Wiley has 1 L and Jerry Willie has 2 L's, and that's why we pronounce it differently. But everybody messes it up and calls me Jerry Wiley anyway. So Dennis, I don't know, maybe we're related and somebody just slipped a Y in there.
Possibly.
Wiley and Willie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Jennifer.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Jennifer Purcell. I am the North Coast Regional Solutions Coordinator for the Office of Governor Kate Brown.
Thank you. Carolyn.
Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year to all of you. It's great to see you all. I'm with the Washington County Visitors Association, and I am the president of the organization.
Thank you. Jack.
Jack Mulder, Port of Tillamook Bay Commissioner and the port's representative to the STIA Board.
Awesome. Thank you. Sean.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Sean Morford. I serve as the Executive Director of the Tillamook Forest Heritage Trust.
Excellent. Thank you. Erin.
Good morning. I'm Erin Scarr, and I am the new Tillamook County Commissioner, liaison to this group.
Wow. Welcome.
Thank
We
you.
haven't got to meet yet, so thank you for joining us. And Michael.
Shisan. Good morning, everyone. Michael Langley with the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, of which I'm on tribal council. But I always like to point out that I was born and raised in Tillamook as well.
He was on the trail when people weren't supposed to be on the trail. Chad.
Hi, I'm Chad Tinsley. I work for Parametrics. I've been making a lot of the maps that have been going into the reports over the last 6 years of Salmonberry efforts, and creating a lot of web map stuff for that now. And I also got to walk much of the trail as we were collecting observations.
Nice. Love the guy.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes, Mike Pishka, Parametrics, Bridge and Structures Engineer and Trail Engineer, Trail Designer. Like Chad, I've also been fortunate enough to be involved in this project from the start, and I have walked the entire segment, I believe, except for a small section of the valley we skipped because it was a wall of green and there's nothing there. But other than that, I've walked from Tillamook to Banks.
Wow.
Great trail. So I'm really excited about this as an avid trail user and biker, and just it's been a great project, and really I've enjoyed being on it.
Wow. Thank you. Who else can say that? Dennis?
Not quite.
Jack? Wow, you might be the only one. Wow.
It's a great, I mean, it was a lot of segments, a lot of hiking, but it was great.
No, very cool. Rihanna.
Morning, everyone. Rehana Ansari, Governor's Metro Regional Solutions Coordinator, covering the Tri-County Metro Region, Clackamas, Multnomah, and Washington counties. And I look forward to walking the entire segment and alignment when possible and post-COVID sometime.
It'd be a very good way to isolate. Diami.
Morning, everyone. Diami Valentine. I'm a senior transportation planner with Washington County, and here supporting Commissioner Willie.
And you got it right. Good job. Michelle, you got your video up and your audio working?
Did. Good morning, everyone. Michelle Bradley with the Port of Tillamook Bay. I have spent the last 2 days at a conference, and as a speaker, they had me futz with all of my Facebook or all of my Zoom stuff. So I got to my office and I panicked here. So happy to finally have another STIA meeting and welcome Commissioner Scar.
Yeah. And Josh, I think you are the last one.
Hey everybody, Josh Alman from Parametrics, just listening in today.
Great. Okay, so I think we've got introductions handled, and no worries on that, Rihanna, if you need to go early. Thank you for letting us know. Okay, so I think we're good there. Everyone got the agenda from Dennis? Are there any changes or adjustments needed to the agenda?
Just one adjustment, Lisa. I wanted to move the public comment up. We did receive one, and we'll address that right after Jim Rapp's presentation.
Okay, so you want to move that up to 5? Just split 5 and 6?
Actually, move it up to just after 4. Yeah, between 4 and 5.
Okay, so we'll make that 4A. Anybody else? Okay, I don't see anybody saying as I'm now trying to look for you, but I think we're good. So, and then the meeting notes, Dennis, somebody's got them up for me, probably John Paul, since you're hosting.
I've got the agenda up, yes.
You got the agenda up. So if we're good on the agenda, we'll go ahead and move on from there. Don't see anybody. I guess you can raise your hand if you know how to do that, or just unmute and say you have an adjustment, but I think we're good to go. And then the meeting notes. I think we have an adjustment that we need to say that Jennifer was with us. Sounds like the notes reflect she wasn't. Any other change? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to 4. That was quick. All right, you guys are very efficient this morning. So Jim, do you want to do your presentation on the Giraffe River and Canyon segment?
Sure.
Thank you.
Mike, could you throw it up? Good. Okay, so recognizing we have 30 minutes here, this is going to be fast. What I intend to do is we have 18 panels. Some of those panels, those dots you can see at the top, are link us into our web map. So if anybody on STIA, we're talking about something, you say, what does that actually look like? Or what does that alignment look like? We can go to one of those dots, call it up, have pictures, and see what the alignments are. And we'll show you one. I'll show you one in the course, but well, that's there. But we're really talking about maybe a half dozen to 8 sort of panels to talk about. So I do, before we want to leave this page, you can all see the riverside shot with the yellow leaves down in the corner there. Remember that photograph for when we get to the last slides. I'll refer to it. Okay, Mike, number 2. So one thing we are doing is we are, and this was, I'll give credit where credit's due, this is Mike Caffaretta's idea, is to create a map that shows the entire system and the alignments based on the approved segment plans. Up to this point, as far as I know, there's never been a map like that. We actually took this a little further, and we show the connection into the Council Creek Trail that goes south out of Banks and then goes to Forest Grove and Hillsborough. And then we also put on this map the Banks Vernonia Trail. So you'll all have this in this sort of web map form. We're also going to turn it into a PDF that will reproduce nice and sharp up at the poster size. So it'll be a resource that you could all use, STIA can use, John Paul can use, and others in the future to sort of give the overview. So again, these routes at this scale show the final alignment options that were selected for all 5 segments, including the Tillamook extension. So any questions on that? Okay. 3. So this one is just sort of an overview. The mileage figures you see on this map are based on the mileposts. In actual fact, based on the alignments we came up with, the canyon segment is about a mile longer than the mileposts, and that reflects in the overall mileage. I know the overall mileage of this trail has been a moving target right from the beginning, but based on the alignments that were in all 5 of the reports, the mileage is 86.95 miles, give or take. So everybody has to go out and change their marketing materials now to 87 miles. Anyway, so that's the entire, we have the yellow, which was the Tillamook section that we did for the city of Tillamook. The blue was the first one, the coast, then purple for the river, orange for the canyon, and green for the valley. Next. So this is the river section, goes from Moeller up to the confluence, and for planning purposes, we broke it into three subsegments: lower, middle, and upper. Not very inspiring names. The 2 options we analyzed for this section are rail with trail, but we made an early determination that rail with a multi-use 10-foot wide trail, which is, for instance, what is used on the coast, it could be made to fit, but the number of retaining walls and structures that would be necessary would be daunting. The dark purple line, about 80% of that line would have to be bracketed by a retaining wall to fit in rail with trail. So that was dropped. So we did a rail with reduced width trail, which is, again, retains the rail, and then you have a 4-foot soft surface pathway or gravel pathway that parallels the rail line. And that works in terms of being able to fit in for the river segment. The rail to trail is fine. The rail's gone, and there's plenty of room. There's a few areas in here that have some damage, some grade failure, partial grade failures, or bank erosion that are fixable, relatively easy. Probably the most challenging part in the river will be the dark purple section, the upper river from Foss Road Bridge to the confluence. And that's because there are all sorts of ubiquitous drainage problems. It really starts a little bit below the Foss Road Bridge, but it's culverts have failed, water streaming across the rail bed, lots of sedimentation. And so it's not a sort of a focus problem. We can say, oh, this culvert failed. It looks like basically the systems all along those 6-7 miles have been, for the most part, overwhelmed by normal year in and year out weather. So there'll have to be some sort of a drainage study as well as some improvements. The other thing, we have 8 bridges in the river segment. 2 of them are the steel truss bridge at Moeller, and the second is the steel truss bridge at the confluence. There's one other in the river, but most of them are in this upper river section that has the drainage problems. And for rail with reduced width trail, what's proposed is there'd have to be a bike ped bridge that is put in parallel to the rail bridge. Again, if there's no rail and it's rail to trail, then you can just reuse those rail bridges. There's only one that's not reusable. That's the Fall Creek Bridge. It's the one, some of you may have seen pictures, that has all the piles and piles of monster long jam behind it. It's structurally failed. OCSR has been talking about replacing it, and we agreed, we would agree with them. It does need to be replaced. Even if there is no rail line, it needs to be replaced. But all told, fairly straightforward. And we'll talk about trailheads and other things later on in the presentation. So I'm going to pause now. If anybody wants to look at any one of these little sections, we could do that quickly. If not, we'll move on to the canyon. So here comes my pause. I see two people have put in chat questions. Is that something they want us to look at now, or is that for the future, whoever did that?
No, that was me trying to figure out my audio.
Okay, Michelle. Okay, so
I think we're good on the chat stuff.
okay, so anyway, so that's the river segment. Lots of great views, and just I'll do it now. One of the implications, I asked you to look at that line of yellow leaves. If we tried to do rail with trail, those line of leaves would be a single continuous concrete retaining wall. So imagine the visual change. And this part of the Nehalem is a state scenic waterway. So anyway. Okay, so now we'll hop on to the let's see, what is it? I think it's the 11th slide. So this is the, I guess this is the section that started it all. The canyon, massive problems, as you all know, and for some of you have seen both ends, you can get a sense for that if some of you have walked through it and know there's 30, we have to identify 30 bypasses or shifts around the rail bed alignment, the original alignment, to get a trail through there. The trail in the canyon is scoped to be primarily a soft surface, 2 to 4 foot wide, 30-inch wide is the standard that is recommended by Trail Keepers of Oregon, who was a subconsultant to us and very helpful out in this section and figuring out on the ground how to get around these landslides. So we've got 4 damaged or destroyed bridges in this section. You have 4 damaged or blocked tunnels that merit abandonment. There's 9 tunnels all told. We have 30 rail bed failures, which is just basically the rail bed is some places just completely gone, and you have rails floating in the air. Other places partially gone, but there's 30 such. And we have 70 landslides in these 19 miles. And most of them are concentrated between Enright and Wolf Creek. So that's the area of most damage. What else could I say? We have 2 or 3 different iterations of what could be used for the trail. One is a straight up, soft surface, compacted soil footpath. We also think there's some areas where you could actually leave the rails in place, which would have several advantages and create a trail between the rails. That's what we call a rail bed trail. And this is not the most expensive, by the way, segment. Matter of fact, this is the least expensive segment for trail building in the entire system, because we are primarily talking about, a footpath. You just could not do multi-use trail. We have a short section from the confluence up to the first bridge on the west side, about a half mile long, that will take all types of users up to a nice bridge. And then there's an option for the section that goes from Cochrane Pond to Wolf Creek on the east side, where you could have multi-use trail, paved multi-use trail. Some of the committee members, though, were very concerned about fisheries and environmental impacts. So for that couple miles, we have 3 options in the report, 3 surface options and widths. What else? We also, I got to say this, this was a great review committee that you all selected for us to advise us. Lots of input, lots of differences of opinion, but everybody worked well together. And you can see we've sort of cataloged the modifications to the plan that were generated by committee comments, and that we've memorialized that list in the segment plan, so that'll be there. So how much time do I got?
Got 15, 18.
Okay.
something like that.
So, wow, going fast. So, so that's the canyon. A couple, we have, let's go to slide 13, Mike. Okay, so this is the Central Canyon. It goes from the South Fork to Wolf Creek. And you're just gonna run us down the line, Mike? This will give the committee an idea of so the brown line is essentially the rail bed line. The yellow lines are where we have to shift slightly off the rail line alignment, but still within the right of way essentially. And then the orange red lines are where we have to have a major bypass of some sort. And so you can see that first one there at Bathtub Creek is the first major one in the Central Canyon. It also has a backcountry rail stream crossing, and these are scoped to be natural stepping stones, or the committee had a distinct preference for some sort of rural type or backcountry type wooden bridge built on site. So, and we also have a couple of places where you might have to do steps. The trail will not necessarily be below 5% grade. There are places that will approach 10 or maybe even slightly higher. So you can see we're moving up eastbound, and we have a couple more. This red part is the first tunnel that will be abandoned. Mike, is this one in bad shape anyway, or just because there's a better way to do it? I can't remember.
This one, the portal did need some repairs, and so it's a pretty viable, easy route to go around. So that was it. Really, at this point, there's in the canyon segment, there's only a couple tunnels that we're leaving just on the other side of Enright because we're able to get in there and make repairs to those. But otherwise, we're going around all of them due to damage.
Another thing too is very important to this project, the future development of this trail, is that, as you all know, this part of the canyon is highly inaccessible. There's only a couple roads of any sort. They're not really suitable for constant traffic, either for construction. You can't get in there. So, you know, if you've got a major repair to a tunnel or something like this, it's better to avoid that major repair than try to figure out how to get into and fix it. So tunnels count as a major repair item, and you'll need lots of equipment in there that will be very hard to get